This week on the EuroLeague Fantasy Challenge Podcast, we talk about the Serbian Derby, the rematch of last season's championship game, and we get ready for Lonnie Time. Welcome to this week's edition of the EuroLeague Fantasy Challenge Podcast. This is Lucky or Not So Lucky, episode number 11. I am your co-host, Frankie Sachs, and I'm joined, as always, is that Michael Stipe?
It is Michael Stipe. I was going to say hello, shiny, happy people, but yeah, it's me. Javi, what's up?
Welcome, Javi, and we are joined also by the lovely and beautiful Vasiliki Karamouza.
Thank you very much for the kind words, Frankie, and welcome everybody. Why isn't 11 so lucky, though?
I guess we're going to find out.
Okay.
I kind of know what it's about. It looks like Frankie didn't have a good week, and he's trying to hide it.
Not hide it. The problem is that I wasn't here last week to get inspiration from you guys.
Yeah, you like the inspiration.
All right, so let's talk about last week. Let's do a recap of what happened. Now, on the court, there were some exciting results. For fantasy, there were some rough results, but we had a big winner in the private league. So, Vasiliki, why don't you tell us about him?
Yeah, this week it was Kos, who was the private league winner with 191.5 fantasy points. I have a feeling he's from Greece again. I'm not exactly sure because the name isn't full, but I have a feeling it's from Greece again.
Well, you can take credit for Greece.
There were fantasy traps everywhere. It was a really rough week, and anybody who got over 110, let's say, like Vasiliki did, it was, I think, considered a good score.
Absolutely. So why don't we talk about last week's winners, and then we'll get to some losers and some question marks. But Vasiliki, why don't you tell us about your big winner from last week?
I will go with Elie Okobo from Monaco. He was the MVP of the round for the first time in his EuroLeague career. He had a great performance. So as the whole Monaco squad, because they scored 125 points, a new EuroLeague record for a game without an overtime. So congratulations to Vasilis Panoulis and his team.
Yeah, anybody who had Monaco players that did pretty good last week.
They set a record for most points in a non-overtime game, 125. So that means a lot of fantasy points. And Okobo is the third Monaco player to earn MVP of the round honors this season, and it's only round 14, so it's pretty impressive.
Not too shabby. Javi, why don't you tell us about your winner for last week?
Well, it's more like the winner for the past weeks. We don't have very good centers, but Momo Diouf has been really consistent. I would say that Milutinov and Diouf are the most consistent centers in the league right now. Diouf has been fantastic, playing really solid, going on the boards, getting good points, shooting the ball with high percentages. And he should keep going. I think he's one of the biggest surprises in the EuroLeague this season, and he's probably on the court. I'm really happy that I got ahead of the wave, and I already have him in my team before the trades.
I have to say, I may pull a Javi and add him to my team.
That's good. You have to learn from the best.
That's right. So my winner for like Javi, I'm choosing somebody for the last couple of weeks. Someone who's taken advantage of his situation. It's Leandro Bolmaro. He's put up really. It's been an inconsistent Milan backcourt with injuries, and a lot of people were riding Quinn Ellis, but Bolmaro is really the guy who's separated himself from everybody else. He put up some big over the last 6 games. He's averaging almost 13 points, 3.5 assists, 16.6 PIR. Those are very strong numbers considering his price. And I think that taking advantage of that situation that was given to him and the minutes that he's now earned, that for me, he's the winner for last week, or even for maybe, let's say, the last month. Now let's talk about last week's losers. Javi, you want to go first here?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of anticipation about Kenneth Faried being the MVP of the month, getting his trophy before the game. Like, everybody expected a good game from him, but then he got into foul trouble and had a negative score. So that was kind of I think he was the most picked player last week, and everybody got that's one of the fantasy traps that we had in round 14. And is it going to be a trend? Is it going to be is Faried going to play poorly from now on? No, not at all. I mean, he'll have good games, I'm sure, but let's kind of say that he burst people's bubble. Like, everybody was expecting him to be 20 all the time, and well, this is the EuroLeague. It doesn't happen that often. So yeah, I would say Faried will be dropped by a lot of people this week. I'm pretty sure about that.
Right. Personally, I think like that's a mistake. The people who didn't have him last week were lucky. They zigged when everyone else zagged, and he hurt a lot of teams, mine included. But I don't think that that's the new thing with Faried. Certainly not unless all of a sudden all the other Panathinaikos centers walk through the door this week. Assuming that it's still going to be the similar rotation last week, I think it was just a one-time thing, and for the price, especially, Faried is still not overpriced. So I don't think people need to run away from him. But yeah, for last week, it was really a kick in the teeth to have Faried on your team. Vasiliki, why don't you tell us about your loser for the week?
I didn't have Farid, so my loser, a guy that I did have on my team, was Queen Ellis, and it was the second straight game that he had the PIR less than 5, which is not very good because a lot of people have trusted his potential and his growth with Armani these past few weeks. So I think he hurt a lot of fantasy users as well.
Can I say something, which is that you mentioned Bolmaro, Vasiliki mentioned Queen Ellis. How about Lorenzo Brown coming back? Is it going to be an issue, like for these two players in particular who play point guard?
I'm not sure he's coming back. I think his injury is more serious than they expected, and maybe we will see a new transfer in Milan. They're looking in the market, but at this time of the year, it's not easy to find a solid option for your backcourt, especially.
Yeah, I mean they may still be looking for. Also, Mannion is hurt. I don't know how serious that injury is, but he's out. But the thing is, Bolmaro I don't think is even 25, or maybe he's just 25. I mean, this is a guy who's a top talent, and maybe it took him a while to find the right place. But I like him a lot. I think that we need to consider the age sometimes of players. Lorenzo Brown's not getting any younger. Bolmaro hasn't hit his prime yet, so I think that may be the direction to invest in.
And there's a lot of Argentinian players who are late bloomers. Like they play their best basketball after they're 24, 25 years old. So yeah, that could be the case for Bolmaro.
And I'll mention here that I also had Quinn Ellis last week. So
wow,
okay.
2 out of
Good
2.
For you.
Yeah,
good for you.
Yeah, it was great for me. My loser for the week, and this is also more of a long-term thing. It's Niang from Virtus, who I hyped up a lot early in the season. In round 9, he had that monster game with PR of 35, 18 points, 12 rebounds. In the 5 games since, he's totaled 15 points in the 23 PIR. Wow. It came crashing down last week. He didn't score for the first time all season. He played a season low 6 minutes. It was not due to injury because he was on for the last 27 seconds of a one-score game to play defense. I don't know. It hurts me to see a player of his talent level who has so much to give falling out of favor and not taking the step up. He should be a guy that we're talking about for rising star, and it's gone all wrong since that one monster game. I hope there's something we don't know about, some sort of flukish thing, maybe a small injury. I don't know. I can't figure it out. But he's no longer on my team. I don't think after last week's game he could be on anybody's team. But for the player and for that talent level, it hurts me to not see him getting more minutes and more of an opportunity to grow as a player.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, round 9 is ancient history right now. It's okay. He had a good game, a very good game in round 9, but that was like what, a month ago. So
no, of course, but the idea is that you can expect some inconsistency from a young player the first time in the EuroLeague, but 5 games with not any real production is no longer inconsistency. That's really having lost an opportunity to step up, and that's a shame for Virtus, for the player, for fantasy owners, I guess. I don't know. It's just a shame. I hate to see talent unused. So for he's a loser. Maybe his coach is a loser. Maybe I'm the loser. I don't know. Somebody's losing out here though, in an opportunity and that's a shame. All right, on to some question marks. Maybe we can solve the question, solve some riddles here. Javi, who is your question mark for this week?
My question mark, and I'm sure it's going to surprise you, is Elijah Bryant. Really, he had 2 or 3 very good games, monster games even, earlier last month. But then he's been up and down, and I cannot figure him out. It looks like, my fantasy strategy has been to have Bezenkov and Milutinov at all times, and then adding a third superstar. And I realized that not having Sylvain Francisco, who is the player I really like, has hurt me the most, and I'm fixing that this week. Spoiler alert. But with Brian, it happened to me that he came back to back big games, and then he didn't play that well, and I really don't know what to do with him. So I'm keeping him away from my team probably permanently. We'll see.
Permanently is big talk. I will say that it's come out in the news that Bryant was sick last week. He did not return with the team to Israel, though he should be back this week. So that may have affected that. The other thing with a player like Bryant is that he's a very high floor player. You know that he's going to do a lot. He's going to contribute with rebounding and assists. It's not always going to come for the points. So for fantasy, he's not a home run hitter, but he's a big contributor. When they need him to score, then he's going to do it. But he'll let other players get their points and take a backseat role. So it does make it tricky. But I like Bryant a lot. But because of those big performances that you'd mentioned, he's so high priced that it's hard to squeeze him into your team right now.
Yeah, we'll see. It's a lot of craze, and like I said, I really want Francisco. But let's ask Vasiliki, who's your question mark this week?
Spencer Dinwiddie. I can't figure out what exactly is happening with him. Knowing what he can do on an NBA level, you expected that he will come and be very dominant in EuroLeague as well. And he gets the minutes and he gets the ball in his hand while he's playing in Bayern. But one game, his PIR is over 20 and the other game is less than 10. So I don't know. Yet I'm staying away from him.
This is the EuroLeague, and the EuroLeague is difficult.
Yeah.
And people who come from the NBA sometimes don't see it. It's difficult.
It's particularly difficult, I think, for guards, first-time guards with the ball in their hands, trying to figure out defenses that they haven't seen before. The 3-second rule changes things a lot. And for a guy like Dinwiddie, who I don't know how many years he played in the NBA, but you built those instincts. So now you have to recreate, the mental pathways for how to attack the basket, what to expect there. With the 3-second defense rule in the NBA, you can wait for your shot blocker to have to step out and attack, but it doesn't matter if in the EuroLeague, Tavares could be there all game long. So you've got to know and adjust, and it makes a big difference for guards. So yeah, I expect that we will see consistencies with him, and just have to pick your spots.
So what about you, Frankie?
So I'm also going with a guy who's come from the NBA, Jared Rhoden from Paris, who it's been 3 games, and in each one it's gotten better. And you can't expect for everyone just to keep getting, it's not like if he plays long enough, he'll score 100 points. But still, 3 games, the PIR, the scoring have gotten better each time. The turnovers gotten less. Last week he had 22 points and the 22 PIR. So it's somebody to look at. I went back, I looked at all of his shots. There were sometimes he went to the basket aggressively and it didn't work. There were sometimes he made threes over a guy. There's a lot of talent there, and we all know how Paris plays. So the question is Rhoden going to be the next big guy in the Paris backcourt putting up lots of numbers, or if after a couple more games he's going to settle in as just another contributor? I think it's that's my question, and it's something to keep an eye on.
Okay.
Yeah, it's difficult to find out. I think Nadirif is clearly the boss of the team, but anybody can contribute, so we'll see.
All right, let's talk about some fantasy news. Over the weekend in Israel on Saturday night, Yam Madar made his return to play. He is one of the Hapoel guys who hasn't played all season with a bunch of injuries, not since Eurobasket has he played, but he's a player who was very key last year in the Euro Cup. He's got some EuroLeague experience, former EuroLeague rising star. What do you make of Yam Madar's return to Hapoel, to first place Hapoel?
Yeah, you should answer that question, Frankie. What does that mean for the other guards?
So fantasy-wise, it's probably not great for anybody. I don't think the Madar is going to get enough.
True.
I don't think it's getting enough minutes to be a major fantasy impact player, and he'll take a few minutes away from everybody. On the team, to add another quality guard to the rotation, that's good news for Hapoel. For a first place team to get a guy like that, if he's completely healthy, and he certainly looked like it in the Israeli league, but it was not EuroLeague caliber, teams that he was playing against. But just for his defense alone, to bring him in there, it's a boost for the team.
That's my thing. Like it's big fantasy news for any player or any team that goes against Hapoel, and any star player that goes against Madar. He's a really good defensive player. Gets a lot of steals. He's always on the ball. I mean, I'm gonna have second thoughts when somebody plays Hapoel to go for the star guard of that team, because Madar will be all over him.
Although, of course, the flip side to that is that it's going to be a high scoring game, most likely. Although they have had a couple of low scoring games, but Hapoel is scoring at an incredible rate. So just more possessions could be good. But yeah, he will make things difficult on the opposing team. That's one thing to keep in mind. All right, so we have some also fantasy news on from Zvezda looking ahead to the Derby. What do you think about Javi? Tell us what we know.
Well, what we know is that Moneka didn't play in the Adriatic League game, and we don't know if he's going to be available for the Serbian Derby. If he doesn't play, that's going to be an issue, and it changes everything, right? Because then Jordan Noor is going to have even more responsibilities on offense, and I think he will be a player to. I mean, I'd like to, as a fantasy manager, I want to stay away from derbies, like in general. But Jordan Noora could be a very good option if finally Moneka is not playing. We'll find out. Probably not in time to make the trades, but it's a calculated risk. If we find out that Moneka won't play, then Noora is a very good option, especially at his price.
Not just that, I understand that that Devontae Graham did not play in the second half of their game on Monday night in the ABA League. And we didn't get really much of an update after the game to know what his status is. We did get I understand that the Ibiko Zundo is going to be back, so that affects the front court rotation. Maybe that hurts Motiunas, who, when I was looking at per minute stats the other day, I saw Motiunas is actually one of the most dominant centers in the league so far this season on a per minute basis. He's just not playing much more than 15 to 18 minutes a game. But that's less minutes for him. So you know.
Yeah.
I don't know what to expect. There's a lot of questions that affects the game. It'll affect fantasy. For now, I'm mostly staying away from Zvezda, although I'd love to get back on the Noir train. But it even if he's at his best, if Moneke is not there and Graham is not there, you start to wonder what is the offense going to look like. And
it's a derby. You never know. It's difficult. And then Partizan has its own issues. So it's very difficult. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of derbies in fantasy because they're usually low-scoring games, and I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Javi, why don't you tell us about another takeaway you have from round 14?
Yes, Kevin Punter. Can we start talking about home punter? Since because we have home now, then we can have home punter. He had a PR of 33 in his first game at home at Blaugrana with Xavi Pascual. Then this weekend, against Andorra, he had a PAR of 25 at home. Barca is going to play 5 of the next 7 games at home. If Punter is going to shoot the ball like he's shooting, and he's getting more PAR than points also, which is, unlikely for a shooter. He's playing all-around games and doing really well at Blaugrana. Is it an option right now, Kevin Punter? Or should we wait to see if this is a, let's say, more steady trend?
I hadn't thought about it this way, but now it looks really nice in my ears. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on KP.
It sounds nice, but 2 weeks ago it sounded really great for me to lean heavily into Nick Weiler-Babb, and
we all know how that went.
Yeah, so
unfortunately.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just don't know. I think it's too early to say off of one EuroLeague game and one domestic game that all of a sudden Punter's will be a monster at home. But I do think that little nugget you gave us, 5 of their next 7 games at home, is something we should all be keeping in the back of our minds and expecting not just maybe a nice little Barcelona run. I don't know which teams have the schedule, but that's, no matter what, that's good news to have that many home games close together. Relevant for Pascual, relevant for all the Barcelona players.
So, by the way, Kevin Punter was the first player to visit this very own studio, the headquarters studio. So shout out to him.
Shout out to Kevin. All right, let's talk about this week's games. What do we have to look forward to in round 15? So Vasiliki, why don't you tell us what you're excited about in the rematch of last season's championship game?
Well, I was really eager to watch Fener play live here in Greece last week, but unfortunately the game against Olympiacos didn't take place due to the weather conditions and concerns from the government, and you all know what happened. So now I don't know what to make out of this game because Fener hasn't played like in 2 weeks in EuroLeague. Monaco is coming from a monster game against Paris with 125 points. Can they keep that up? But Fener was unbeaten in November. So I have all these questions in my mind. I think it's going to be a great game, but I'm not sure if it's going to be a great game fantasy-wise.
Let me answer one of the questions for you. No, they cannot keep scoring 125 points a game.
I guess not.
I'm glad I could help. Also, I'm glad to see that you stayed dry.
Yes, I managed to stay dry.
Yeah, well, Fenerbahce didn't play in a while, and also didn't Olympiacos, and
Yeah.
their first game back in the EuroLeague is here in Barcelona, and that means that somebody that we know is coming here to Barcelona. So I hope to see him very soon. Yeah,
one-on-one meetings.
yeah, let's see. Maybe it's up to him, really. So
we look forward to the selfies.
Yeah, we have to see when the next Sasha's Corner comes. So yeah, we have to discuss that.
Yeah. All right, so Javi, the other big game this week that everyone's looking forward to is the Serbian Derby, which you've already said doesn't have a lot of fantasy value for you, but tell us why we should nonetheless be excited about it.
I mean, it's the Serbian Derby. It's probably one of the best games to watch every season in the world, I would say. And then, we are preparing a really special coverage of the game everywhere. We have sending a bunch of people there to make sure everything is covered, and we have even a live TikTok show coming up. It's gonna be amazing. We have a lot of surprises, some you don't expect. Big names coming to Belgrade, and man, it's a Serbian Derby. I had the luck to be there last year for the first time, and it blew my mind. It's an atmosphere I've never seen in ever, and I really hope I can come back soon. But man, it's a Serbian Derby. Fantasy wise, maybe it doesn't have that much value. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe the MVP of the round will come from this game. But usually they're low scoring games and really intense games. But just for the atmosphere and everything that the EuroLeague is preparing around the game, I mean, don't miss it. It's going to be great.
I actually would not be that surprised if we had an MVP type performance from somebody in the Derby. The thing is that I don't think it'll be where we see it coming from. It'll be something unexpected, right? You don't know what to expect in the Derby. As they always say, there's a phrase in almost every language that the Derby has its own rules. So I don't think the rules are necessarily that it's going to be low scoring, but I do think that there's something coming that we don't see coming, and that's what makes it exciting.
Yeah, the X factor.
But if you want to speak about atmosphere, I don't think that we would have ever spoken about the exciting atmosphere of a Maccabi Asvel game. But this time, yes, I think there will. I will be there, and firsthand. It'll be Maccabi's first EuroLeague home game since October 2023. It'll be sold out. It'll be exciting. I think that everybody should be considering some Maccabi players. Give them already a 10% boost, not because they'll be at Asphalt, just a 10% boost because of playing at home and the excitement. I expect it to be a sight to behold, and you should be all in on Maccabi players, especially Lonnie Walker.
All right. I have a question for you, though, about it, which is I was in the 2004 EuroLeague final. That was probably the biggest, wildest atmosphere I've seen in a EuroLeague game. Do you think that it can compare after so many years waiting for a EuroLeague home game? Can we expect something similar to that, or not really?
First of all, I still resent the fact that you didn't say hi to me at the 2024 championship game, because I was there also. And you just
we didn't know each other, man.
I know, but you still could have introduced yourself. But
so
there
were more people there, It was just not you and me. I mean, it was
there were a lot of people there. It's true. I don't think it can compare, mostly because the arena they've done some upgrades to the arena, and it's changed it just a little bit. Plus, at that they were really cramming in some seats. I don't know where you sat. I sat. They had press seats right behind the team's benches. The teams had a very small walkway. We've been to Final Fours now, and you see where it's there's all this separation and there's room. That one, it was really packed in there, was tight. So the atmosphere is not going to be the same just because they can't recreate it. The fans are not as close to the court, aside for those courtside seats, but the fans at the upper deck are now even a little bit further away just because of what with the renovations. So I don't know if it'll be quite like that. But nonetheless, I think that it'll be there's a bunch of these guys, the Maccabi players, who've never played in front of a sold out Maccabi arena. I mean, you have a couple that were there in October 2023, or guys like the Bartolomeo were there even before, but it'll be pretty exciting. Yet I'm not worried about them being overwhelmed. I think it'll be a positive thing. So I look forward to seeing the atmosphere. I'll report back on it for you guys next week.
Will you send us a selfie with Lonnie Walker, please?
I will do my best. Yes.
Okay.
All right. Sorry about all these all-time stories, Vasiliki, but I was in the scorers table for the only time, and all the finals that I've been, I was right there and it was amazing.
Don't worry about it. I was just 7 years old then, so I couldn't be there.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You
All right.
asked for it. You asked for it.
Yeah, true.
Let's go to our teams.
Yes, trades, please.
Vasiliki, would you do the honors of revealing your team first?
Of course I will. So, as I already told you, I think Ellis didn't do me very good on my team the last 2 weeks, so he's now out, and I'm bringing back one of my all-time fantasy favorite players, Matt Strazel, of course. Roman Sorkin, even though you said we should go for Maccabi players, is out because I needed to try something different, and I'm bringing Cam Taylor from Valencia, who scored the buzzer beater winning shot against Baskonia in the domestic league, and also had a pretty solid game against Panathinaikos in Athens last week. Last but not least, Tarik Biberovic is out, also one of my favorites, but for the time being, I need to make a change. And Justin Anderson from Dubai is in. My last trade is my coach. I will talk about it later. But yeah, those are my moves.
Well, we know that Tariq is watching, so
Yeah, probably. But it's okay. It's okay. We're good, I think.
We have to start talking about the Vasiliki blessing, which is that when you let somebody that you know out, he plays well.
I have to say, given Vasiliki's track record at some of this, I am super excited that you dropped Roman Sorkin.
Yes, okay. Let's see. So, apart from these moves, last week I got Sylvain Francisco, and of course, after 2 games with more than 30 PR, he would have 15 because I bought him on my team and I spent so much credit on him. But I will keep him again this week, hoping he can get back to his momentum. I have Kostas Lukas for quite some time now. Sasa Vezenkov, Nikola Milutinov. These are some players that I have for a very long time. They're playing really great, so I'm very happy about them. Also, Vautier, who was my gamble last week, didn't do that bad for his price and his role, so I'm keeping him because I didn't have much credit to upgrade him, and some other guys at the end of my bench who are not contributing that much, but it's okay.
So I will just react quickly to all those who are running to get rid of Francisco after last week when he was 0 for 7 from downtown. Is that a trend? I don't think so. If he was 2 for 7 from downtown, he all of a sudden his PR is 23 instead of 15. So that you have to deal with flukes in this game and ride the ups and downs. If I had Sylvain Francisco, my team would be looking a lot better. But if I had him, I also would not be running to get rid of him. So I credit you for keeping him, and I think anybody who's got a question about Francisco, just roll with it.
I will even put him as my captain for T1, like I did last week too, and I had to change him. So if I have to change him again, I will go with who, Sasa Vezenkov. A very solid option, always, especially when I don't have him on my team. But I hope he will be solid this week too.
All right, sounds good to me. Javi,
yeah, I mean, it depends a lot on your signings. Like if 2 out of 3 of your signings play well, Strasser will probably play well. He's playing really well, and Cam Taylor comes with great momentum after the game winner. And Anderson has been playing really well too. But I think if 2 of these 3 play well, you're on for a very good score. So let's see.
The other thing I wanted to do is get players that we haven't talked so much and are not on many people's roster. So, for instance, as the time of recording, Strazel is owned by 4.8% of the fantasy managers, and the other 2 are less than 2%, Taylor and Anderson. So if I can get something really good out of them, maybe that can be a difference maker.
Trying to trick everybody. I
yes.
Like it.
All right. Let's see.
Javi, what do you have for us?
Well, my first priority, since you were talking about it, is to sign Sylvain Francisco. He plays in Paris, where he grew up, against a run-and-gun team. I don't see any negatives. I think he's going to have a monster game. And that's my priority, and that's what I rooted for. And all my trades are related to that. I had to trade Shavon Shields to make money. I had to trade McKinley Wright, who played really well. But like I said, Francisco was my main choice. And I also traded Herrera because he's been up and down lately, and with the new signings, I don't know if he's going to play that much. I got Aoife Lundberg, which I think he, with 6.4 credit, I think it is a very good, good. He has good value and good potential. And then I had Ercan Osmani, Sasha Besenko's favorite fantasy player, because he's a very steady value, and for less than 10 credits, I don't find anybody better. Then I also changed my coach, but we'll talk about it later. But like I said, it's all about Francisco. I have the same 3 star players as Vasiliki. Then the rest of the team is very different. So we'll see.
First of all, I have to say, I love the fact that you use the verb, you signed Francisco. Like, I'd love to see the contract that you sent to him. I love that. I think I might adopt that also. I'm going to start signing players. That's pretty cool.
It's far away from the frame, but we have a picture of Francisco right there. He's my inspiration in fantasy right now.
And you have Zalgiris scarf at the other corner.
True. I mean, it all points out to the same direction. So yeah. And as for my team, like I said, I'm not really sure about Besenkov and Milutinov this week, but I'm keeping them anyway. They play against Barca. Barca is going to be a top defensive team now with Xavi Pascual. Maybe it's too early for that, so that's why I'm keeping them. I kept Alexa Abramovich. If I had one more trade, probably Alexa would be out, but I'm waiting for a monster game from him at some point. Let's see. I had Momo Diouf, like I said. I'm keeping Queen Ellis because he bounced back in the Italian league and had a really solid game. And I have Biverovic also. And I'm keeping Raymond as the cheapest player in my roster. So more or less, that's my team. 3 star players, a lot of players in the range of 10 to, let's say, 7 credits. And then Raymond and Biverovic as the last options.
I like the idea of keeping Quinn Ellis, not necessarily because he bounced back in the Italian league, but more just because I think a lot of people run to get rid of a player after a bad outing or two, and it's not always, you're not always riding the mountain, or it's more of a roller coaster. So there's probably some good value. He's still getting good minutes. It's probably a smart move. So I commend you for that. And like I said before, I think the Francisco one, that's a great signing. It's a great signing.
Yeah, this all can turn into a meme come when our community manager Leo says this, and then if somebody plays not so well, then we are kind of doomed,
Yeah, well, then you have to terminate the contract after you sign them.
Yeah, exactly. Dismiss.
Part ways.
All right, so what about your team? Can we see it, please?
My team. Does anybody really want to see my team?
I really want to see your team.
I've said Gonzo too. Moses Wright. To Quinn Ellis, which is another reason I'm convinced that he will do well, and Jordan Nwora. In Nwora in part because of the not clear, but also because I needed some cash. I need to bring in some new blood. And we all know the top superstar that I had to bring in is Lonnie Walker. It's time.
Yes.
It's Lonnie time. We've been waiting all season for it. It's Lonnie time.
Yeah, he was great against Zalgiris. He was great in the domestic league. Now with Maccabi fans rooting for him, I think he's gonna be way, way, way better.
That's right. So everybody, 13.3 credits. We shall have Lonnie. And then I've decided not to maximize all of my credits and just try to get players I felt comfortable with. I've made some bad decisions recently. TLC has been great all season. He's not super expensive, so I brought in TLC. And I may adopt Javi's move at center because I do have a couple credits left. But for now, I think I like Faye from Paris. Young player. He was I believe I had him the first week of the season. So if he's turning a corner, if he's going to be a big time player, he's a big time athlete. He's a young guy. So I like it. As for the rest of my team, I'm keeping some guys who have disappointed, and I just think it's fluky. Talking about Weiler Bab, I'm not angry. Bad games happen. I still believe, even the bad games, the things I've said before about the high floor have been there. He's still contributing in other ways. He's getting the minutes. I just don't think it's gonna continue, and I'm holding on to him. Faried again, hoping it was a one bad outing, and Sorkin. Like I said, I'm really glad to have another Maccabi player. Captain for me, it's Lonnie Walker. I'm almost willing to guarantee that it'll be Lonnie Walker no matter what, but
wow.
Almost.
All right. Well, there's one thing I want to say. If we had to give a title of Mr. Fantasy Challenge this season, I would go for TLC, Timothy Luau Cabarrot. He's been fantastic. He's been amazing. He's been criticized by not being consistent enough over the years, but now he's super consistent. He's probably the best fantasy player there is right now. In terms of price and consistency together, man.
He's shooting better than ever before, and that makes all the difference. So
can we call him Mr. Fantasy?
I think we can call him this year's fantasy MVP for sure. Yeah. At least to this point, he's the fantasy MVP. If you got him at the right time, I had him. I then for I don't remember why I didn't keep him at some point. Probably a mistake. Obviously a mistake, but going back to him. But yeah, absolutely, he's giving tremendous value for his price.
Javi, can you please tell that you want to call Mr. Fantasy TLC to Sasa Vasekov when you get a coffee with him this week?
Yeah, I will, because he's the president of the Fantasy Challenge. No problem. He's above that. He has a management role. No problem.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay, cool.
I look forward to seeing how that works.
Yeah.
All right, it's time to talk about our head coaches. Now, I believe maybe for the first time, we have a consensus. And given Vasiliki's track record on choosing head coaches, this is cause for concern for the rest of us. But still, I will let Vasiliki tell us why you have chosen the same coach that Javi and I have also chosen.
I think he is going to be the coach of 90% of the fantasy managers this week.
And his name is?
And his name is Audot Katas. He managed to survive the rumors and all the fuss that the saying that Maccabi is going to part ways with him. The club said that they still trust him and he's going to lead the team until the end of the season. Maccabi is now back in Israel, Tel Aviv. That can be a pretty big boost. And also Maccabi is hosting Asvel, which we all know, the Asvel rule. So everything is pointing out this is the way to go this week. I don't know, how can that go wrong?
We'll see. I have to say that the last time we three had the same coach, we had Spanoulis and he had 25 points. So,
okay, good. So
yes.
that makes
Katash, people out there, go get Katash. I mean, you will anyway, but
listen, I think we have to say in Asvel's defense, they almost upset Hapoel last week.
Yes.
Right. And with the Colo, they're not a bad team. I think for me, though, I would have taken Katash here against more than half the teams in the league. I just think the first game back in Tel Aviv, I've had so many conversations with Maccabi players over the years about what a packed house at the arena means, what the fans add. Not every home court is worth, I don't know how many points you want to say it's worth. They're not all worth that many points, but some are. And I think this is one of those situations where I really expect.
But it's added pressure also. Maybe it will go against them.
No.
There is always that possibility, right? I mean, if we want to look back at a game that had this type of atmosphere, all we have to look back is the famous Žalgiris Maccabi game in the 2004 top 16, which ended with the Derek Sharp shot. But before that, Maccabi was expected to win, and the whole city was talking about it, and they dug themselves a hole, and everyone was missing, and there's records from that game. Sharas had, I forget, he set the record for the most, I don't know, the highest PAR or the most free throws made or all sorts of stuff, but they couldn't do it. They needed a miracle shot. It can happen. Teams can be heavy favorites and the pressure could build, but that's why I say I wouldn't have picked Maccabi in this situation against every team, but I think against the majority of teams I would have, and Asvel's got a lot of young players, so I think that that atmosphere might be tough for some of them. I don't know. I'm very comfortable, as we all are. So, highly recommend. I think that we will, for a coach who costs this little, I think this will be the highest ownership ever for a coach who's less than 5 credits.
Yeah.
All right. Now it's time for my favorite part of the show.
Get Future, Get Rewarded.
That's right. I love me some Get Future, Get Rewarded. This is where fans send in different segments and then we respond to them. It could be, and I think right now you'll see the graphics. So you'll see where you can scan the QR code and send us in whatever you want. Comments, questions, advice, stories, whatever you want to share with us, we will read it on the air and we will respond to it. And as I said, this is my favorite part of the show. So our first one, this is for you, Vasiliki.
Okay.
It's about strategy. It comes from Mark.
Strategy. I
like the worst. I'm the worst at it.
It comes from Marko Nikolic, and he writes, "You need to read the season the way a top coach reads momentum, meaning you focus on the schedule instead of names by targeting players entering stretches where the flow naturally benefits them, whether it's consecutive home games or opponents whose defensive schemes consistently break down. Then you exploit teams that can't handle the pick and roll by relying on guards who dictate the tempo, big men who roll with purpose, and forwards who thrive on spacing and second chance opportunities. And finally, you react faster than everyone else when injuries open minutes because temporary starters gain touches, responsibilities, and PAR production before their price adjusts, giving you the sharp competitive edge that disciplined managers always create."
Wow, that was very thorough, very well thought. But as I said, I'm not the best at strategy, so I can definitely learn a little bit about that. But it's somewhat what Javi said earlier about Kevin Panther, that there's home Panther now, and Barcelona have 5 home games coming up in the next 7. So maybe that will be a good thing to do. And the thing about minutes, as you always say, the best currency in fantasy is minutes. So when injuries happen, you should always look for that. But yeah, sometimes I think I do rely on names more than I do on anything else. And it's not going great. So maybe I should think a little bit more about that message.
Yeah, I will just say, while I agree with everything there, and some of that is exactly what we do try and point out here in the podcast. That's why we talk about injuries every week and how it will affect teams. We try and find the best matchups. But really, when it comes down to it, it's better to be lucky than to be good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
totally, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, I think now it's my turn to talk to Javi.
All right.
Okay, I would say it's a bold statement. The messenger doesn't say it's a bold statement, but I'd say it's a bold statement. It comes from Dusan Olwitz, and it says, Arale is going to win a fantasy challenge in total by a margin of 200 points to the second place.
Well, it could be. I don't know. Is it a private league or is it like a general?
I think he's referring to the private league.
200 points is a lot. An early is good, but I'm gonna say no. There's a lot of good fantasy managers out there. I'm sure somebody will challenge, not us probably, because we're far away from him, but I'm sure that somebody else will step up and be closer than 200 points. So if that's a question, my answer is no. Aral is good, but not that good.
Can I answer his question with a question?
Yes.
Sure.
Dusan, how much is Arla paying you to do his PR for him?
I hope we get the answer in the next episode, please, from someone.
All right. Well, Frankie, are you ready for your question? It's in a statement, actually.
I'm always ready. This is my favorite part.
Yeah, this is from Dunia Svetkovic, and she says that Crvena Zvezda can be a contender for the title if they stay consistent and play this kind of defense.
Well, first of all, who's this from?
Dunia Svetkovic.
Hello, Dunya. Thank you for sending it. Yeah, no, of course they can. Of course they can. I think that one of the things that I love the most about this team is their depth. Especially now if we see more guys coming back. I have to say the Graham signing is one that concerns me for things we said earlier in the episode. I just think point guards who come from the NBA, and he's been in the NBA for a long time and had an outstanding career, but you have to worry. But if all the pieces come together, right, to win, you're talking about maximizing what you have there. Nawara, who's an outstanding talent in his second season, Moneke, who knows at this point in his career what it takes to win and how to fill roles, a very deep front line. If Graham figures it out, all the role players, and we have guys like Dobric, who's got a very small role, but he's a Serbian national team player. When all those guys come together, there's even names I'm not mentioning, but just look at the talent there. Who's the Jared? Butler, right? All these guys. So it all has to come together. It's not consistency. It's maximizing that talent. But if Coach Sasha Obradovic is able to do that, of course, on paper, Zvezda has a level of talent that can compete with any team in the league. And so far this year, we haven't seen any team, maybe with the exception of Tel Aviv, really maximize its talent. So there's always the fear. What if the teams like Panathinaikos or Fenerbahce maximize their talent later on and come together? But if Zvezda on talent, on paper, they're an exciting team to watch. They've got it. Javi, you're dying to say something.
Yeah, I want to say that if Joel Bolombo is healthy and in shape, this team is could be a Final Four contender like easily.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I do agree, and thank you for your comment.
Always very polite. Always very polite.
Yeah.
All right, any parting words, guys, before we wrap up here?
Yeah, that you're always polite to everybody but me. Why is that? I mean, come on.
Javi, you
I'm
know I
jealous
love
of all
you.
this.
You know I love you.
Yeah. All right. I love you too.
Oh my God, we're a soap opera now.
Yeah. It's Christmas. We gotta be nice, right?
Yes, true. Okay, I think this is it for today.
It's going to be a great week of basketball. There's so much to look forward to. Like we said before, championship game rematch, Serbian Derby. For me, I'm excited to go to a EuroLeague game in Tel Aviv for the first time in well over 2 years. So there's a lot. I'm feeling the energies, and I just hope that it's a better fantasy week for everybody than it was last week.
Yeah,
all right.
Thank you to everybody for watching. And Frankie, any final words?
Yeah, well, I want to again thank them for watching. Ask everybody to please kindly like, comment, subscribe to the podcast. Javi and I have been answering for everyone who leaves these messages on the YouTube feed. So please do that. Ask questions. I felt like there's a lot, and sometimes I apologize for not getting to them in a timely fashion. But people ask for all sorts of tips, and we get there and we comment, and sometimes they even ask them in languages that I can't read, but I use the little Google Translate. We do it, so it's great. So please keep sending us messages and interacting with us there, as well as on social media. And if you can't do that on YouTube, so you can listen on Spotify, wherever podcasts can be downloaded and listened to. And thanks for being part of the community. And everybody, good luck this week. I hope you've built the perfect fantasy team.
Bye-bye.